fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am here to discuss Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. I've had a lot of people inboxing me about this whole debacle, this fight, this potential fight, this fight that didn't happen, this fight that could happen, this fight that will it happen. You know, I've told people ask me, will the fight happen? No, the fight won't happen. And I told people that. and then see, my thing is, it's not even really a fact of being right. It's just really knowing what people want versus what people don't want. Okay? I've said that time and time again. Whenever you have a guy like Terence Crawford, when he moved up, Errol Spence could only say and he could only do certain things based on who would allow him to do only certain things to say and certain things to do. He couldn't do anything. Man Down Promotions is a farce. It's a front. It doesn't mean anything. He's not a promoter. He's a fighter. He's advised by Al Heyman. Al Heyman calls the shots. He runs everything. Floyd is like the junior Al Heyman. That's what Floyd does. Floyd Mayweather Jr. stands for, he should change his name. Floyd Money Mayweather should change his name to Al Heyman Jr. Okay, because that fight between him and Terence Crawford, there is no reason that fight shouldn't have taken place. None whatsoever. Except for one defining factor. Okay? And that was money. Okay? Money. See, people understand and they acknowledge how big a threat is for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a threat. He's always been a threat because he hasn't been defeated. He hasn't been almost beat. He hasn't been that guy that, man, you know what, I think so-and-so beat Terence Crawford. It's never been anything like that. Terence Crawford has always exceeded in every fight that he's been in. See, those special fighters are to be feared. He's to be feared. Okay? And by being feared, he's respected. Eric, 1984, Spence should have given Crawford 50-50 and made the fight. Eric, no. Listen. It has nothing to do with the 50-50. Why? The 50-50 means nothing when it comes to Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford already agreed to whatever they gave him. I think it was like 40-60 or whatever the shorter end was Terence agreed to. So we can't say, well, if it was 50-50. It ain't like Terence Crawford turned down the fight. The fight was never offered. Do you guys remember like what about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the fight was a done deal? They both agreed to terms. Do you guys remember that? I mean, we got only 15 people on here. I know I just started this live stream because I felt compelled to talk about this because it needs to be discussed. And what disgusts me is the fact that both fighters, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, agreed to this fight. So the question you ask yourself, what was the holdup? What was the holdup if both fighters agree? If both fighters agree, what is the holdup? The powers that be. Who is the powers that be? It's only one side now, people. It ain't ESPN because that was the narrative. You went from, no, it's Bob Arum's fault. It's ESPN. He's on the side of this street. You know who said that first? Errol Spence. Where did Errol Spence get it from? Al Heyman. That's what? Al Heyman Jr., a.k.a. Floyd Mayweather. Right? That's where he got it. He didn't get that shit from just, okay, you think that Errol Spence just all of a sudden he on the other side of the street. Well, I ain't going to fight on ESPN. He said that because somebody said that to him. People. Somebody told him that shit because they told him how it is going to be. And how it was that he's not fighting anybody. They ain't putting up money to produce any fight with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, especially when they hear that Terence Crawford is not making the type of money that would be risky enough to go on and take that man on. Because what'll happen? No, I'll be damned. You're not gonna go. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna call. I'm not gonna call Al Heyman, and Al Heyman's not gonna call Bob Arum, and Bob Arum's not gonna get together and make some fight. Well, Terence goes in there and he beats Errol Spence, and Errol Spence don't get paid for it. Because it's all about lining people's pockets. It's all about the money. So when they heard Bob Arum, Terence Crawford can't sell. I've lost so much money on Terence Crawford that I could have bought mansions on top of mansions with the money that I lost. Do you guys remember that? Michael Manning, every other fight gets done cross streets, but not this one. Kurt, you're nailing it lately on this one. Listen. Counterpunch to you, Michael Manning. But understand something about this whole debacle. This whole debacle is based on money. Risk versus reward. Risk versus reward. And you know what's I've been saying this a long time. In the heavyweight division, people, the quote unquote other side of the street, and people say what they have to say, right? Now, people are starting to wake the fuck up because they're starting to see it too. You don't believe me? Listen to this. This is from Blue Blood Sports TV. Listen.
It was going to be in February, but then sources came behind that and said it was going to be possibly late February, maybe even March. Now you do the math. The last time Terence Crawford fought was November of 2021. So that means he will be out the ring going on 17 months, going into the biggest fight of his career. So Terence Crawford wanted to stay active. But as I told you guys, right? Once it got to the early October time, right? So keep in mind, all you got to do is backtrack. Once it got to the early October time, as I told you guys, I don't think it's going to happen in November. I don't think it's going to happen at all. And now they released the statement. You heard nothing from nobody this entire time until Terence Crawford announced that he's going to fight somebody else. Then you heard an onslaught of responses to tell you that Terence Crawford wasn't responding anymore. But the revised contract was sent 2 weeks ago, which was early October, for a fight in 2023.
Now, this tells you something without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, when everybody starts to say the same shit, when everyone starts to say the same shit, the truth is clear as day. And you can't lie. Some things you just can't make up no more. You can't run narratives where the narratives don't make any sense no more. Like I told you guys, the other fucking day when Terence Crawford announced, you know what, I will be fighting David Avanesian. Boom. Then all of a sudden, say, I told y'all he wasn't ready, y'all. I told y'all. But you've been fucking zipper faced this whole time. This whole time, we heard that, and the last time we heard anything from Errol Spence was when? It's going to happen next. See, the thing about that was, he didn't care if it happened next or not. Why? Because he already had his fight with Yordenis Ugas. He got his 7, 8, 9 rounds in against a fighter. Terence Crawford wasn't. So the whole idea was, yeah, we ain't got much money, but I'll be damned. We're going to make this particular equation more difficult for Terence Crawford. How we do that? Well, he fought in November of last year against Sean Porter. Stopped him in round 10. He hasn't fought since. And they promised him that fight will be this year. Errol Spence said next. Next don't mean this year. They sent him a contract, like you heard Blue Blood Sports TV say 2 weeks ago, and said, no, it ain't going to be now. It's going to be next year. But I mean, did you hear a fucking date next year? No, you just said next year, early next year. That could be March. That could be early fucking April. Early next year, that could be April. That's the first quarter, correct? It could be early. That could have been fucking, look, You got a guy that just turned 35. He ain't been in the ring in over a year. Way over a year at that point. Then you want him to fight Errol Spence, 3 years younger, undefeated, fresh, sharp. You want him now? You want him that to happen? And like I told you guys, if that fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence gets pushed any longer, the favor's in favor of Errol. See, the whole thing is they don't want to pay Terence Crawford this money to do so. But if they're going to pay him, they're going to make damn sure the odds are for Errol Spence because that's the guy that they're backing, not Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's this new guy on the block that's been kicking ass since he can remember. You know, I agreed to everything when Bud ran down on Blue Blood where they all. Well, see, understand. It wasn't the fact of him just running down on Blue Blood. It was the fact that Blue Blood would understood what happened when he came on this platform and said, guess what? Y'all, I talked to Terence Crawford. He agreed to every fucking thing. Once that news dropped, you got to remember, you got a guy that damn near has 200 subscribers, right? And then, I mean, most of these guys are American subscribers. So once that dropped, once that news dropped, you're not talking about a person that has 20,000 subs, 30,000 subs, 50,000 subs. You're not talking with somebody with that type of platform. You're talking with somebody that has blocks on top of blocks. He has receipts, okay? He has that. So once he dropped that news on a big platform, what is the responsibility for Errol Spence at that point? To respond. He's meant to respond because he knows shit. Terence Crawford had just told Blue Blood, a guy that used to support me, a guy that used to support the PBC, a guy that's supposed to support Fox and Showtime and Al Heyman and all that applies to that side of the street. He knew at that point he's supposed to respond. But what did he do? Zipper-faced. Zipper-faced. That's what he did. Nothing. And you think Blue's an idiot? No. Blue understands this. Well, I can talk to my platform and my audience the way I feel fit. But I can't ignore the truth when it's slapping me in the fucking face. You can't do that because at the end of the day, Terence Crawford has showed him, listen, this is what happened. I agreed to every fucking thing. So go run tell that. But then what we supposed to hear, if that was a lie, people, Errol Spence would have contacted Blue, some kind of shape, form, or fashion. Listen, Errol Spence would like to talk to you. Did he do that? No, he did not. Nobody said shit. He sat with his ducks and cows and geese and fucking rabbits and goats and all that shit. He sat there and did nothing. He's seen that shit. And if he didn't see that shit, somebody told him, man, you know, Blue Blood ran up, Terence ran up on Blue Blood and told him, man, you the one that's fucking this up, or Al Heyman. And he could have been like, hell no, let me call Blue right now. Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Let me call Blue. Let me message you. Inbox that motherfucker. We gonna talk to him. There was no rebuttal. There was no response. There was no counterpunch to what the hell was going on. None. None at all. Until, oh, I'm fighting somebody else. See that? I told y'all he wouldn't ready. Okay, now you missed you unzipped your fucking face now. You unzipped your face now. Now you unzipped. Now you got the green light to do what? To talk? Now you want to talk? Now you want to conversate? Now you had something to say about the negotiations. How about you back up and talk about what Terence said about agreeing to everything that you wanted? How about that? Crazy. Mayweather said the fight wasn't going to even happen anyway, at least not in 2022. Marquise Monroe, do you know why, Marquise? Do you know why? Because they knew if Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence in 2022, he has a better chance of beating Errol Spence. And they ain't doing shit without making a shitload of money. But what they're worried about the star power, because they're not convinced if trading our boy for a fight with Terence Crawford would be worth giving up or possibly giving up our O. Because once you get Errol Spence in there with Terence Crawford, it's already too late. Because Terence is stopped 13 fucking people flat. Straight. Bars. He has stopped those amount of people. So if he goes in there and stops Errol Spence for $2 fucking million, and you know we got thieves, the motherfuckers steal the shit, jailbroken, what's that shit? The damn fire stick. They jailbreak them. Because people steal. They steal. And then they're worried about their return on the money. They're worried about, well, damn, we've just lost Errol Spence. We could have got Canelo back if Canelo, because he only has how many fights left with Eddie Hearn? They're thinking like that. They're thinking, look, he got Caleb Plant out of there. We gave this man $50 million. Fuck. What are we going to do? He took an L. Damn. So he beat Triple G. Now he has one more fight with the Zone before we can get him in. But we don't really know. So it's a lot of things they're trying to, they know, understand this, people. Whenever you got a fight that's held up, there's always a much bigger fight that it's held up because of. And Errol Spence, they know. Errol Spence, they can get, and they knew that was a litmus test when Canelo Alvarez came over to PBC. Okay, when he came over to PBC, they knew, look, let's treat him with respect. Let's treat him nice. Let's give him what he wants because he's going to come back. And you heard Canelo said, everything was fine. They treated me with respect. I do enjoy fighting on Fox, the PBC. Why? Or Showtime, rather. Why do you think that? Because they made sure they rolled out the gold carpet for Canelo. Why? Because they want him back because they got a guy that they want to face. The same shit happened to Errol Spence when he took on little ass Mikey Garcia and they sold big numbers. They want to do the same thing for Canelo and Errol Spence in Texas. That's right, Texas. And so you think they're going to have time for a guy, a fucking undefeated, fucking special, underprivileged or appreciated fighter like Terence Crawford? You think they're going to lose that for somebody that doesn't make the numbers? That was complained about with his previous promotional company and outfit? Do you think they're going to risk that? And they seen fucking Errol Spence get fucking belted by Dennis Ugas? You do it. Ugas hit him, bow. Oh, shit, I'm sorry. He just fucking stood there like, did I do something wrong? I'm like, get him. Dale, motherfucker. But he didn't. He stood there and fucking and Errol Spence regained himself, knocked his mouthpiece out, and he went to work. He went to work. So that's what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. Counterpunch, how would you feel if it was Spence who scheduled a fight instead of Crawford? How would I feel about that? That's a very good question, because it would seem weird to me if he said that fight was next. So I would question to see why he would say that fight's next and all of a sudden that he would have a fight with somebody else. That wouldn't make sense to me, because that's the only thing that we heard. Greatest storyteller ever. That's the only thing we heard from Errol Spence. That's it. That's the only thing we heard from Errol Spence. That fight happening next. That might be your next fight. But is it Terence's? See, understand, Terence has been out of the ring longer. And ring rust is a mother sucker. Right? Get away from ESPN check. Get a belt check. Right? That's what happened. Still never made it. James Bash. Peace, Kirk. Glad to catch you live. Appreciate you. James Bash, welcome to the show. Anton, look, it's plain and simple. Spence has ducked Bud. Nowhere around it. Listen. In short, yes. Has Spence ducked Bud? Yes. He's ducked Bud only, though. Only because he does not have a say-so in who he fights. You want me to prove it to you guys? You want me to prove it to you? Deshaun, Salute CPN and boxing fans. I said this all the time that this fight could be the best time in boxing. However, these promoters are hiding everything, holding everything back. Deshaun, appreciate you, brother, coming in with that Cinco. Appreciate you. Listen, do you think Wilder Helenius was fixed? No, I don't. But this is not what I'm talking about. We're talking about welterweights. This is a welterweight time. You know, I'm known for this is a heavyweight based channel, but I cover all of boxing, and we're going to cover this damn situation, this debacle here. So, to answer you guys' question, did Errol Spence duck Terence Crawford? In short, he did. He did. I'm going to tell you why and how that happened. Does that mean Errol Spence is afraid of Terence Crawford? No, I don't think he's afraid of Terence Crawford. This is what I think that happened. Errol Spence can't fight his own fights. He can't pick his own fights. He can't promote. He can't manage. He can't demand. There's nothing that he wants. And if he does have a say-so, it's only an option of so many options. Those people are only limited. It better be Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, everybody on that side originally that Al Heyman already knows and can tell what to do. That's who he can pick from. Well, Crucick, I mean, that's just common sense, because at some point you're like when you get a goalpost moved, Crucis, when you get a goalpost moved, this is what's going to happen. Okay, I want to fight in November. Then that gets ignored or whatever. Then you get a revised contract that's saying, "Hey man, you know it's next year now." Well, motherfucker, I thought it was going to be this year. Why is it not this year? Then when you get to November sometime, right, when he could have fought somebody, then they'll say, nah, then it's later May. That's not determined because it's not a date on it. But back to Errol, though. Let me talk about Errol for a minute. You want me to prove that Errol does not pick his own fights? You guys want me to prove that? I want some activity. Yes or no? Do you want me to prove that? I'm going to drop the fucking mic. By a Y, yes. By a N, no. Tell me how I can prove that. Unless you're driving. Crawford stalled for 6 months. Owen Bradley, we got a yes. Nathan Alvides, yes. Daniel Pines, yes. Okay, we got 3 yeses. So I guess that's all we need, right? Contradicting yourself. Spence cannot duck anyone if he does not have any decision-making power or with who he fights. Daniel, I'm getting to that. Let me get to that, please. I'm getting to that. Errol Spence. If Errol Spence picked his own fights, I want people to listen. Pay attention. Drop what you're doing. Stop. Pay attention. If Errol Spence wanted and he picked and he chose his own fights, why the fuck couldn't he fight Keith Thurman? Why couldn't he fight Keith Thurman? That's who he wanted. That's who he desired. That's who he demanded. The former 2-time welterweight champion, Keith one-time Thurman. You better not duck me, son. He never got that fucking fight. Why? Because he doesn't call the shots. That fight could have been made if Al Heyman wanted it made. He didn't want it made. Why? Because he knew he had Keith Thurman. Now, it wasn't that Keith was terrified. Look, puppets don't get terrified. They just get pulled. Keith Thurman knew. Okay? There's a small portion to that on what he said. But what he said meant dick, because he knew I got other plans for Keith Thurman. What was his plans? Who did Keith Thurman fight that was on the level? That was a legend. That was an 8 division champion. Who? Manny Pacquiao. So you think that he was going to let Keith Thurman get beat the fuck up by Errol Spence? Do you think he was going to allow that to happen before making a super fight between them two? Oh, and by the way, made sure that VADA was not included. Right? He didn't make no drug testing. So he made that shit real easy. Keith Thurman became a millionaire. Manny Pacquiao became a bigger millionaire. Got him. Andrew Smith. Got him. How many times did Errol Spence call out Keith Thurman? Too many. I want Keith Thurman. He gonna act like he retired. He gonna get injured again. No, he just didn't want to fucking fight you because Errol Heyman had bigger and better plans for him because it benefited boxing more versus what that is. And then see, he tried to give that to Errol Spence later on when Manny was older, and that was what, 3 years later. And then what happened? His eye got fucked up. Go figure. Then your Dennis Ugas got that glory. He became a millionaire. Right? Maybe a 1 millionaire. You know, maybe 2. I hope he got more. I hope he got all he could get. You know? But yeah, if that was the case, if Errol Spence got what he wanted, he would have got the fight that he asked for. But did he get it? No. You can't tell me it was just Keith. No, Keith Thurman did what he was fucking told. He did what he was told. He did what was ordered of him. But he got what he wanted because he wanted a super fight. Al Heyman killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He kept his younger prodigy, which was Errol Spence, his younger champion, against the guy that's been there like Keith Thurman, and he put it up with that supreme guy that they just scored coming from Bob Arum. Just like they want to do Canelo. They want to get Canelo back because they want Canelo and they want Errol because Errol missed Manny, right? Errol missed the Manny fight. Boom, we need another super guy. The last super guy, who? Canelo. He's the last superstar fighter. All these other guys are fucking peons. They don't have that. Errol Spence don't have it to himself, by himself, because we know Floyd is still playing, hey, look at me, people. It's me, Mr. Promoter, but I still want people to buy my bullshit exhibition fights, and I get $20 million each time I show my face. So, yes, he's hogging all the money, and they can't see that. That's their fucking problem. But in the meantime, all of them should go to the zone or Top Rank. They should do that. Golden Boy, go back. They should go back. Because at this point, the money's being hoarded. But who's doing anything about it? Nobody. This is the fight we want to see. This is our Trinidad De La Hoya. This is our Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Imagine this. Imagine if Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather could not be made simply because Oscar De La Hoya and let's see, who else is back at that time? De La Hoya is still doing it. It started doing exhibition fights. He started doing exhibition fights. Therefore, we don't have current money to support our fucking current fighters that's putting their life on the line. Now, imagine that. Imagine if we had Oscar. I just want another fight. I'm going to fight Vitor Belfort. He's a good fighter. He's good. I'm going to take on Roy Jones. And then all these guys won't allow the next generation to move forward because they're holding it up, because they won't get the fuck out of the way. Imagine that. Imagine if we have that. And this is what's going on in boxing right now. They're not able to call, they're not making any shots. They're not causing any, they're not doing anything. Yeah, that coaxed it. Yeah, I'm ready to fight. I may take on Mike Tyson for 10 million. But meanwhile, we can't see, we can't see classic fights. We didn't get the real Manny versus Floyd. No, we didn't. They want to, listen, this is what they want. People have to understand this. They would rather make more money, less performance from older fighters than less money than better performance with the current fighters. That's what they want because they don't give a shit. They don't care about giving you the best fights. They don't care about showing everybody the best that these guys has to offer or the best version of these guys. They don't care about any of that shit because if they wouldn't, they would have had Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather a long time ago. But these guys are a trip these days because they don't have a say-so. They don't tell you. They can't tell you what's going on. They won't tell you what's going on because they are not pulling the strings. See, Errol Spence was allowed to say that because he knew he was off the hook. And he knows at certain times that he can say shit, and he knows at certain times, let me shut up. Where's my zipper? Where's my zipper? Excuse me. Ron Nail says Crawford versus Boots petition. Listen, fuck Boots. How about this? Terence Crawford already got a fight. How about Errol Spence? Why don't he fight Boots Ennis? I mean, why not? He's looking for a fight. See, Errol, if he did call shots, and that's another thing that won't happen. You won't see an Errol Spence Boots fucking Ennis. That won't happen either. You know what I mean? Because that choice, if Errol Spence even wanted that, Al would tell him so quick, you're not fighting that big switch hitting motherfucker. That's like a big super Terence Crawford. What are you, crazy? You think I'm going to put you in there with that guy? I fucking advised both of you? Mean I own you? I control what you do. You think I'm going to allow you to do that? Are you out of your mind? No. You might in Dallas, Texas. You're going to get your ass beat in Dallas, Texas. So you better be fighting your ass off against that guy, that fucking Philadelphian that fights with sticks, stones, and bottles in the streets of Philly. You better hurry up and make up your mind on what you're going to do. Because I don't think that fight will ever be made. Boots Ennis, he's another generation. He will be a guy that will be like Errol Spence, that wants fights and never gets them. He won't get them because he doesn't make them. The guys that make them will put him in whoever they want to make those fights with. Bragging rights of Texas Spence versus Ortiz. That would be cool. But that ain't going to happen. See, sure fights are made. Sure fights are made. Or damn near sure fights. Because, we can't guarantee what happens unless a fighter himself gets paid off. That's paid to make a dive. That's the only way you can guarantee a fight. You pay a dive. You pay a guy to dive. You pull a Malik Scott. Right? That's the only way. Boots Ennis is Errol Spence IBF mandatory, and he's trying to get that Spence fight. Well, I mean, Orion, it don't matter. It don't matter. If the IBF don't do anything about it, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Now, does it? It don't. But that's something that Al Heyman won't advise. He's not going to make a fight like that. Are you crazy? Thunder's Productions coming in with that CA with 10. Al Heyman is the PBC Suge Knight. Errol can do anything with Al's, or can do anything with Al say so. Probably meant can't. So I understand. No, he can't. Appreciate the love. You guys didn't have to, but you did. No, listen. Anton McFadden, where you at? Everyone keep mentioning Boots. Who has he fought? Tell me. He hasn't fought anybody yet. Is Conor Ben done? Maybe for right now. He's going into hiding. He has to regroup. He has to strategize. Yeah, I know what you meant, Thunders. I know it's a typo. I do it all the fucking time. And shout out for people that saying, Kurt, you need to check your titles before you pick videos. What do you think? It's an actual holdup with all these guys today. Fighters being too stupid or frightened. Listen, Daniel Pines 27. This is what's wrong with boxing. In the welterweight era, anywhere around that point or that part, each promotional company, they deal with networks, right? They have contracts with networks. Like Matchroom was with Sky Sports. Then Matchroom decided to, hey, let's start supporting DAZN, and let's allow DAZN to be our feed in America, and then Sky Sports to be our feed in the UK and other territories, right? Well, those networks that produce the income, okay, they support and endorse the promotional companies, right, with the money to fight on their network. In return, they get 50% of the fucking revenue. That's how it works. They're investing their money to get a return. All right? Well, Al Heyman is like Eddie Hearn is to DAZN. Al Heyman is with Showtime, PBC, Fox, but then we're hearing that those guys are getting tired of putting up fights. That's why all of these fights that should be on normal championship, Showtime championship boxing, they're not. They're not on Showtime championship boxing. They're all on pay-per-view. Why? Because they want to pay-per-view all of us. Because they don't want to put up shit. And then the money that they're putting up, they think that's too much. But no, I mean, back to Boots, he hasn't fought anyone yet, as of yet. But that doesn't mean you don't see the talent. You're right. Counterpunch. But that means you should be the one to shut his ass down now, isn't it? What do you think the actual holdup with these guys today, fighters being well? And then here's the thing, Daniel, to also, if you don't be a becking a reason, if you don't stand out and make your own claim, like De La Hoya did, like Floyd Mayweather did, like Manny Pacquiao eventually did, if you're not one of those guys, if you're not a leader, you're a follower. These boxers, Errol Spence, all those guys, they're all followers because they do not predict. They do not demand anything because they are a part of a consortium owned and ran by a particular person that's smarter than them, that is allowing them to be ran by a tyrant. That's all that is. But Kurt Blueblood said that Crawford ran it down at the local 7-Eleven accidental meeting. I don't know if it was accidental or not. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But I do believe that Terence Crawford had words with Blue Blood, AAR, and that's what happened. And Blue Blood realized, like, well, why isn't Errol Spence saying anything about what Terence told me? And I've been defending these fucking cocksuckers the whole time. I've been defending him. I've been defending Al Heyman. I've been defending all of this stuff that's going on with this narrative. And you know what the latest narrative was? That Terence Crawford couldn't fight Errol Spence? It didn't have anything to do with any of that shit. What was it? Oh, because he was cool with Daniel Kinahan. How many fucking people did Daniel Kinahan talk to? Billy Joe Saunders, Tyson Fury, Mauricio Suleiman, Bob Arum. I mean, so many fucking people talk to this guy. Who cares? But that was a reason. So any narrative that was created, produced, made up, was used. And it all came down to, no, he's not worth it because he doesn't make the amount of money for us to risk it. So what we're going to do, we're going to push this shit along and see what he says. See, all that is procrastination. You can procrastinate until someone says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. Darren Spell Sr., Kurt, 3 the hard way. Get at these fools with facts. Bud ducking no one. Now Spence got his vocals back when he know Bud out of the way. Al Heyman is Don King 2.0. Darren Spell Sr., appreciate the love, bro. 1999 was a very good year. Fine with a lot of wine. Literally. Bars. Appreciate the love, man. You didn't have to, but you did. But, Daryl, you are absolutely right. The convenience of people saying certain things all of a sudden will always get me. It will always make me realize that, like, listen, you had a freedom of speech at any time, but then yet you don't talk about how much you want a certain fight until you find out that fight's over. It just, to me, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Errol Spence could really make a fight. He doesn't run anything. Who have we heard from? We ain't heard Errol's talk as much as we heard Floyd. This fight won't happen. This fight won't happen until I say so. When I say it happens, it happens. Not with anybody else. All that fake news. When it happens, I'm gonna let you know it happens. I speak for Al Heyman. Al Heyman speaks with me. When you hear Al Heyman, you hear me. You hear from me. That's what it is. You have Al Heyman Sr., Al Heyman Jr. That's what you have. Al Heyman Jr. is AKA Floyd Mayweather. Right? That's who he is, because it's at the end of the day, they're hogging money. And as long as Floyd's fighting and doing bullshit exhibitions, these guys will never get paid like they should. So they should just go to fuck the golden boy or whatever. And you got guys like, and then see, Floyd has affiliates now. Floyd has guys that have no fucking business being in the sport of boxing. You got Jake Paul and Logan Paul and KSI. And I'm gonna fight KSI's brother, Deji. He got money. He got subscribers, and they gonna pay. Okay, then so he sides with them. So now he has a whole group of people that he can fight. He don't have to fight the hardcore ass boxers that know blood, sweat, and tears and went through the Golden Gloves and the amateurs and some the Olympics and then the pros. He doesn't have to worry about none of that shit no more. He doesn't worry about somebody catching and shooting him and knocking him the fuck out and beating them all up at age 45. He's dealing with people that just learned how to throw a fucking punch. Come on, man. But he's getting millions, and they're getting millions. They're turning boxing into a shit show. That's what they're doing. That's absolutely what they're doing. They're turning it into a shit show. And Floyd is hoarding all the money because he knows, these casuals, they're gonna come to see me fight. They're gonna come to see me fight. They're gonna come to see Deji. He's a respectful entertainer. I'm a respectful entertainer. Boxing, superstar, Hall of Fame, TBE, TMT, hashtag. We're gonna make this fight for the fans. No, you're gonna make this fight for your pockets. And your fucking fighters are broke. That's what it is. And you got all your fighters, they're so broke. You know how broke these guys are? I'm gonna tell you. Let me prove to you how broke the PBC and Showtime and these fighters are broke. You got guys, poor bastards, bless him, Jamal Charlo's wife talking shit. He ain't got no money. He ain't got the money to fucking take care of his house. He ain't fighting nobody. Putting him on blast. Right? You have guys in the PBC, right? They're so broke that they're waiting around for the big one. They don't even want to put they don't want to fight the B- fighters no more. They don't want to fight any of those guys. They would fight a C-, a D+ fighter any fucking day until it comes to somebody, oh, wait a minute, he can really fucking fight. No, man, I'm mandatory. No, I'm number one. I ain't doing that. Too much money. I'm going to price myself out. Price out. They're not doing it because they know if they get beat, that can ruin their opportunity to get that one fucking payday that they've been looking for that they should have been getting each and every fight. These guys are supposed to get $3 to $4 million a fight, the same amount of money, people, that Terence Crawford was getting at ESPN. At Top Rank, facts. Oh, that's some hellified racism, I'll tell you. Racist or not, Bob Arum had to pay Terence Crawford. He had to pay him the money because he signed a contract to pay him the money. So now you guys see, now you guys understand why did Terence Crawford re-sign, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, with Top Rank? Because he knew, I've been getting this money. So why the hell would I go somewhere else for a fight that may or may not fucking happen? Now I get over here, it ain't happening. So who made the right decision, people? Okay, can you guys tell me who made the right decision? Did Terence Crawford make the right decision to stay or leave Top Rank when he re-signed with him? By yes or no, did he make the right decision? Yes, he made the right decision. No, he didn't make the right decision. Can someone please give me some feedback? Thunder Productions. Floyd's a dancing bear in a circus at this point. Absolutely. But he's a dancing bear that's rich as fuck and he's hoarding all the money. Kurt, I'm worried about Fury hurting Chisora for real. I'm not. It's a payday. I don't care. I really don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. I shouldn't say that, but I don't at this point because I'm mad. Because see, in the UK, that's different. You peeps in the UK know. You guys got it. And you guys get fucking mad because you're paying fucking $30 for a fucking pay-per-view. We're paying $70. And these motherfuckers still are not getting paid. They still ain't getting shit. Everything is on pay-per-view. It's high as fuck. And then the fighters don't get paid nothing. Then you got Floyd coming out of nowhere making 10, 20 million fucking dollars. Like he never left the sport of boxing. That's the whole point of leaving, cocksucker. You're supposed to leave to allow somebody else to replace you. What are you, replacing yourself? I'm Floyd Money Mayweather. Now I'm Floyd Exhibition Mayweather, aka Al Heyman Jr. That's who I am. I'm Al Heyman Jr. So Al Heyman Jr. is replacing Floyd Mayweather Jr. So we got Pretty Boy, we got Money, then to Money, we got Al Heyman Jr. I'm Al Heyman Jr. I am the adopted son of Al Heyman. And we're gonna make money until we can't make money. What about your other fighters? They gotta get their They got to get this shit together. Okay, so fucking Tank. So that means Tank's damn near 30 years old and ain't fought a marquee fighter yet? Is that the reason? Look, all these things are happening because of arrogance, ego, greed. Arrogance, ego, greed. That's it. This is the reason why these fights are not happening. That's why. We knew Bob was racist when he treated Lomo like God and Crawford like a hated stepchild. But greatest storyteller ever. Here's the thing. Business supersedes all that because, yeah, he could talk that shit. We knew he was full of shit. Greatest storyteller ever. We knew he was a rude old bastard, didn't we? We knew that. I knew that. I mean, what promoter, if you can, let's talk about Bob Arum for a minute. 90-year-old fucking Bob. Let's say Eddie Hearn would have said that about Anthony Joshua. Fuck, I'm losing all kind of money on Anthony's not selling. He's just not marketable. I don't know. I just fucking hell. Who does that? That's like Oscar De La Hoya. I like Virgil Ortiz. He's a good fighter, but honestly, I think I'm wasting a lot of money on him. I'm wasting a lot of money on Virgil. He's not producing the numbers, and I'm ready. Like time. I hope to pull the plug. I'm really hoping to pull the plug. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if these guys did what fucking Bob Arum did to Terence Crawford. I get the disrespect. You could label that racism or just rule that out as the ballpark of racism. But one thing you couldn't do at the end of the day, and this is what made Bob pissed, you couldn't say he wouldn't pay Terence Crawford because he had to. He had to. See, disrespect's one thing, but the disrespect spiraled from anger because you had to pay this guy. He had to pay Terence. Terence like, and then when Terence knocked out Sean Porter, he calmly said, you remember, he was like this. He was turned. He was turned. He was like, well, if Bob Arum couldn't, if he couldn't secure the fight with me when I'm with him, how was he going to secure the fight with Errol Spence, when I'm not with him? The silent killer, right? Desiree Espinosa, greetings to all, awesome chat. To me, Floyd sounded more like Al Heyman was under him, not vice versa. It didn't fucking matter. See, both of those guys are in cahoots. I don't give a shit who's who or wherever. I think Al Heyman has the brains. Floyd ain't that smart. The things you hear Floyd say is the things he heard Al Heyman tell him. See, that's easy. Any motherfucker could appear smart. You could appear smart. Like, all you got to do is rehearse something someone else already said. And that makes you feel you're smart. That's what Floyd does. You've heard Floyd say it himself. I hang around people, business-minded people, smarter people. They're my brains. Leonard Ellaby, Al Heyman. Now, you don't really hear from Al at all, so you don't know what Al says. But if you want to have an idea of what he talks about, listen to what Floyd says. We're gonna let this fight build. We're gonna let this fight marinate. This fight ain't ready right now, and when it's ready, I'll still be making $20 million a fight. And I'm like, you selfish cocksucker. If you cared about this fight really being made, you would take that money that you danced around and made for fucking 8 minutes, right? You would take that fucking money, chop it up, and give it to those fighters so that fight could happen. If you cared for fighters, you call yourself a boxer and say other boxers paved the fucking way, and you decide to not pave the fucking way. See, I have to, let me tell you something first of all about Floyd Mayweather. I despise Floyd Money Mayweather. I love Pretty Boy because Pretty Boy was just a fighter. He didn't grow to be a dick or a tyrant or a bitter ass fucking guy that has grown to be jealous of other people, that is coming into a danger of coming anywhere near his stardom, like Manny Pacquiao. You think he hated Manny Pacquiao because he was so good? He hated Manny Pacquiao because Manny Pacquiao was coming and comparing to what the shit he did, and he was getting praised for it, and Floyd hated it. Floyd hated that idea. He hated the idea of people, man, when you gonna fight Manny? Because he looked at himself, his ego. 50 Cent told you that. You forget, you guys remember 50 Cent said it best. Floyd looks at himself so above other fighters to the point where he can't really just see, he can't see anybody else in that same light. I see they let anybody get a YouTube channel. Yep, even me. Bob should have promoted Crawford like the best fighter in the world, but he didn't because of racist bias. Absolutely. But I think Bob Arum's cheap. I would call Bob cheap. I would call him a cheap-ass older guy that's accustomed to giving guys cheap wages based on what they can produce. But get this. He needs to understand that not everything was promoted the way it should. See, it's one thing to not promote a fighter at all, but it's a totally different thing to denounce a fighter. You're demoting a fighter. So he didn't promote Terence Crawford. He demoted Terence Crawford. So when anyone, that's like saying this. Let me give you guys a good example of that. Wings of Richard, DAZN versus PBC. Appreciate the love, brother. DAZN versus PBC. Well, DAZN, I got my own thing about DAZN. They're winning right now because they actually have money to give their fighters. But that's going in another different direction. But let me talk about this. The way Bob Arum talked about Terence Crawford, let's say Terence Crawford was a worker at Coca-Cola. And then he was the best worker at Coca-Cola. He was the guy that got all the awards. He was the guy that got all that. But guess what? Their sales were down, but they still had to pay him because he was a contractor of Coca-Cola, right? That's just like the CEO complaining like, man, we can't afford to pay him, but we got to pay him because we got a contract with him. And as long as he's doing a good job, we got to pay this motherfucker. But, he's not really making our sales any better. So, I'm losing money because of hiring him, but he's the best, but I'm losing money. Okay, so what happens? What makes you think when Pepsi hears that? And then he says, fuck you, Coca-Cola, let me go to Pepsi. And then when he goes to Pepsi, expect the same shit over there. We don't really have the money because we heard what happened at Coca-Cola. And we don't have the money that Coca-Cola has to pay you what you were getting at Coca-Cola. But why do you think that is? Because the CEO, which is like Bob Arum, the head of Coca-Cola, said these things about the best worker in the fucking building. That's what he did. So you think Terence Crawford, that didn't linger with him? That didn't follow him? He don't sell tickets. Well, the first thing they're going to know, we ain't going to put money into this shit. He beats our boy's ass. Let him go some fucking where else. Let him go to Eddie Hearn and fight fucking Mikey Garcia or Jesse Vargas or somebody like that. Go over there. Don't come here. Oh, but that's right. We got all the welterweights, don't we? Fuck. Nah, Kurt, De La Hoya would be working at Coke. I bet he would. Fuck Pepsi. Give me Coke. Give me Coke. It's hard for a guy like you, Kurt, who sends $20 super chats to Showbiz to understand people who are selfish and cheap to the bone. But there are all kinds of people on this planet. Absolutely. I mean, I get it. I know what greed fucking is. I understand it because I see it. You don't have to be greedy to understand greedy. It's not Crawford's fault, but self-promo was missing. Well, no. See, you don't need self-promo to, and then that's a fucking farce. That's a farce. Because Terence Crawford don't have to sell himself for shit. He don't have to be a clown for no fucking body. I mean, at this point, we know Terence Crawford, right? We know Terence Crawford don't talk shit about people. He's not going to like belittle himself or try to change anything about him. He's not that type of person. He will tell you what's the fuck's on his mind. He'll tell you how he feels. He'll tell you what you can do. If you step to him, he will punch you in the fucking face. You're talking about a guy that got shot in the fucking head once upon a time and lived. Okay? He tells you whatever's on his mind. He's not fake. That's why I love him. He's not arrogant. Is none of that dumb shit. I want Terence Crawford to be exactly like he is. Straight to the fucking point. If Bob Arum is too old to promote him, bring somebody else in to help him promote him. That's what I would do. I know, well, you know, Terence don't do that. He's not that kind of guy. What I'm gonna do? What if I'm Terence Crawford? What I'm doing this to amuse you? Well, I'm gonna be like Tommy from fucking Goodfellas. What do I amuse you? What? You funny? Funny how? How am I funny? You want me to make you laugh? That's what you think? Like I'm a fucking clown? I'm here to amuse you? Huh? Tell me. I'm here to amuse you? That's what I would be, and that's what I see when I hear people saying Terence Crawford should self-promote. Listen, you have guys that are entertaining when they do self-promote. Can I respect it? Sure, I respect it. Only if it's them in reality. If it's not them in reality and it's not their natural way that they promote themselves or their natural personalities, why would you want somebody to be like somebody else? Counterpunch. Why would you want someone to be like someone else and they're not? Okay, Terence Crawford is soft-spoken, but will beat you the fuck down. He will knock you out. He will stop you. He will Sean Porter you. He don't have to, let me juggle, look at me. Fuck that. Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. That's just like us saying, hey, you know what? We want Manny Pacquiao to be more hardcore. You know, I am bad now. I am bad man now. I will kill you, fuck your wife, and do this. I am bad. Manny, meaner. Meaner Manny. Okay, cut. Guys, I don't like this. Fuck your wife. I like my own wife. Her name is Jinky. I love her a lot. You know, he don't need exactly. Michael Manning. He doesn't need to be anybody else. Alfred Young. Exactly. Pacquiao did not self-promote. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like Manny is just Manny. Manny's been Manny the whole time. Manny was Manny when he drank and smoked and got off with chicks and all that stuff, and you seen him at clubs and all that, but he was still that, hey, how you doing? I am Manny Pacquiao. I am ready to fight. He ain't changed. So when I hear that, oh, well, Terence is supposed to self-promote, you know what that means? Y'all are buying into the bullshit. You're buying into the narrative that him fighter, okay, if he needs to self-promote, what the fuck he need? Why does he need anybody? If he has to self-promote, if I got to be a one-man show, why would I need any of these other dopes? Why would I need them? Why would I need them at all? I don't need these guys. What the fuck I need you for then, Bob? He needs to self-promote. Well, I don't need you. Now do I? Okay? Wheel your old ass home and smoke a blunt. I don't need you. Get the fuck on. You know, I'm kicking the ass wherever I go. You want to see me self-promote? Get me in the ring. Ding, ding. Bars. Crawford versus Cotto 147. That's a good fight because Cotto could box and he throws wide hooks. You got to be careful with getting hit by those hooks because he could take you out. Look what he did to Sergio Martinez at 160. You know what I'm saying? Any boxer fan should be glad Bud is fighting and didn't get froze out thanks to the PBC. Oh, I mean, he did for a while. He couldn't fight those guys. He couldn't fight who he wanted to fight because he was froze out. Yeah, he was. He just kept kicking ass and kicking ass and kicking ass. Look, first came Jeff Horn. Then came Jose Benavidez, both undefeated fighters, knocked him out in the 12th round. That's probably his hardest fight because Jose was undefeated and Jose wanted some of Terence because he believed that he could beat Terence. So Terence had to knock him out to show him like, yo, this is what it is. Then after that, was it an Amir Khan after that? He made Amir Khan quit, right? I'm sure it was somebody else. I know Mean Machine. He had to, Mean Machine dropped him unofficially, but he dropped him, and he pissed off Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford beat him up. Then you had Kell Brook. Then Kell Brook, he had to stop Kell because Kell was getting the drop on him because they're both counter punchers. So, Kell is bigger than Terence. He's a bigger boy, and he was countering. Then you had Sean Porter, okay, the king of the PBC or whatever, the spokesman and host of one of the Fox PBC's shows. He is Mr. PBC. You don't see him drunk. You don't see him on drugs. You don't see him out partying and stuff. He is that ideal role model citizen that you would want to see someone represent a network. That is Sean Porter, and he also gives it his all in each and every fight. Okay, he's like a two-time welterweight champion. He's a WBC champion. He was the WBO champion, and every fight that he's lost, he was a guy that gives his all, and then surely because he went toe-to-toe for Errol Spence, and Errol Spence barely edged him by a flash knockdown in the 11th round, this should be one hell of a fight. And what happened? It was a good fight, and Sean Porter did what Sean Porter does. He went for the gusto. He charged him. He dashed. He threw combinations. He rushed Terence Crawford. He worked him. He hustled him. He tried to do everything that he possibly could. And then there was another gear that Terence Crawford slapped into, right? He slapped into that other gear. He went from gear 5 to gear 6. Boom! And took out Sean Porter. Now everything really got real. Errol Spence left that fucking place like, damn, Al, I'm going to have to fight this motherfucker. No, you won't. No, you won't. Right? It's called move the goalpost. He's 35. Keep coming. It happens. Old tactic. You want to beat a fighter? Wait him out. Now, see, this is what will happen. If Terence Crawford, he was smart enough not to sign that damn contract. You know why he was smart enough not to sign that damn contract? Because he already knew the moment I signed this contract and they then push this shit to March 13th or March 21st or March, some fucked up time frame, they knew, well, he signed the contract, so he can't negotiate with anybody else. That's why he said, fuck you, and this 2023 contract that don't have a fucking date on it. Okay, all right, no. I'm going to fight this other guy because I know this fight is available for me, and I know they ain't full of shit, and they're not giving me the runaround. So I'm going to take this fight because I ain't fought since I stopped Sean Porter. That was one of the things that Jermell Charlo was accusing Terence Crawford of. When the last time he fought? When the last time he fought anybody? He ain't fought nobody. Who is Terence Crawford fought? He come up here. Look, I bet you Eric Lupin fuck him up. I'm busy. Yo, tell Terence Crawford I'm busy. Right? That's what happens. So Spence is aging Crawford out. That's true. Yeah. But here's the thing. They knew Terence is like, fuck that. Let me do something else. Oh, thank God. Okay. Oh, hey, Keith, Errol. Keith, Errol. I'm Sean. Errol. Yeah. Go talk. See, I told y'all. See, he ain't want to fight. He ain't want to fight no damn body. I'm like, damn, where the fuck you been there, Mr. fucking loud guy? Where you been hiding at? He come out the bushes. See, I told y'all motherfuckers, man, he ain't want to fight. We all know who was holding it up at this point. See, I agreed to everything. You did? Like, well, when the fuck were you 3 weeks ago or a month ago? That was like a month ago when Terence Crawford rolled up on Blue Blood. Then we heard shit from Errol Spence. What, he riding horses? That's what he was doing? Fucking concrete cowboy? That's what he was doing? Now you hear him. He's Mr. fucking get loud now. He's getting loud. You can't make this shit up. Kurt, give us Floyd's thoughts on this. Nassim, Islam. First of all, shout out to Nassim, Islam. First, this fight got to marinate, and we got to make sure that the fight makes sense. And right now, the fight don't make sense to me and Al, because I'm speaking for Al. And when Al speaks for me, and I speak for Al. So that being said, I think this movie, what? I don't think this fight happens. I don't think this fight happens right now. It doesn't make sense. It got to make sense. But anyway, you guys stay tuned to my fight. I'm fighting Deji, and I'm getting $20 million. I'm getting $20 million. Fuck out of here, man. You want to fight? You can see me versus Deji. Exactly. But you want to see a real fight? You want to see a real leather throne? You better see me and Deji get it on. Bars. And I'm ready to fight, and I will be getting 20 million. But unfortunately, there's no money for this other fight. Super fight, undisputed. It's just no money. It's no money. Why? Because you stole it, you fucking bum, you crook, you cocksucker. You stole the money. Maybe, just maybe. They ain't got no money, and you got to make sense. I tell you what don't make sense, motherfucker. You fighting a goddamn YouTube guy to get millions that your fighters are not even allowed to get. Huh. Okay, Wings of Richard. All right. DAZN versus the PBC. DAZN. Oh, DAZN. I remember like it was yesteryear. On DAZN. Thought Al Heyman writes Spence checks. Yeah, he does. He writes the checks around now. He sure does. But listen. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. All right. You have DAZN coming in 2018. I remember when it came. Remember like it was yesterday. These guys were promoting anti-pay-per-view, subscription-based platform that showed all of sports all over the world. We had boxing vaults. We had so many different things. It was crazy. It was one of these things where you thought, well, okay, this is the Netflix of boxing. Fuck pay-per-view, fuck HBO. They're already done anyway because HBO got out of the game at late 18, if you guys remember, right? Then, Showtime, beware. Here comes DAZN. They're coming with Joshua. Then they're coming, then that fucking huge deal by Canelo. And then Golovkin, even though he was a little too old, he signed with DAZN as well. Then you had other fighters that joined then Danny Jacobs came along, and you had guys like that. Anthony Joshua was on DAZN. Then you had Dillian White coming along. So you had different fights that was happening, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. Scance Rants, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. And it's like, all right, okay, we have DAZN. They supposed to, be the anti-pay-per-view, pay-per-views, screwed and all that. They even had fucking Michael Buffer. They hired Michael Buffer, right? And Michael Buffer, if you guys don't know, Michael Buffer gets $1 million every time he says that. You remember he used to say, let's get ready to rumble. But then after that, I think that was copyright. It was trademarked. So he had to say something else. Let's get this party started. That shit there, right? So he had to say that. But he got $1 million. I know when he said, let's get ready to rumble, he got $1 million. But now I think he gets a chunk of fucking money every time he says that, right? So they even had him on there. And he's like, pay-per-view screwed. See? Fucking said Canelo Alvarez. And then all of a sudden, the same bastard that said, see, we seen what the fuck happened. We seen that Canelo Alvarez demanded pay-per-view for his fights. I'm like, wait a minute, man. That ain't making no sense. Now, not all of them. But that really pissed me off because I'm like, well, wait a minute. You was that same guy that said that you didn't have to worry about pay-per-view when you was ever on DAZN. Oh, unless it's just people from your country. Interesting, people. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. DAZN pay-per-view was a backstab. Wings of Richard. Yes, it was. It was very hypocritical. Hypocrites They lie in a totally different way, you know, total different way. Who did? Let's get ready to rumble. Get copyrighted by. Man, I don't know who they did. I could look it up, but not today. But you do know that as popular as that was, you know, he used to say that for all of those pay-per-view events. So probably he was hired by HBO pay-per-view. Maybe it was HBO that got it copyrighted, maybe. Because you remember that everything, because you know Jimmy Lennon Jr. was on Showtime, as that commentator. So that announcer. And then you had Michael, that guy, the Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy there. So it might have been HBO. So, but yeah, DAZN, you know, they ended up being a real fucking surprise, you know, and yeah, they get a couple, you know, kids dropped on them for that. Hypothetically speaking, if Bud went undisputed in 3 different weight classes, 135, 147, and 154, there is no way he can't be top 3. Well, he's top 3 anyway, Anton. Shit, he's the top 3 right now. And see, I think, and understand this, and I'm going to leave you guys with this here. Terence Crawford is a threat. And it's not because he's just this great guy. It's just his ambition. His ambition is threatening. Why? Well, do you see anybody else within PBC Fox that wants to fight every fucking body? That wants to get these fights? I mean, do you hear anybody saying that? King Mike Hall, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Yeah, I normally don't go this late, but you know, I had to make it. I had to get it today. I had to blow off some steam. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's, you know, Terence wants to move up. Terence wants to do this. Terence wants to do that. He wants to become undisputed. See, those type, like, nobody's asking for that shit. You know, Errol Spence claims he wants it, but in order for him to get it, he has to go through Terence. So I think if like, let's say Terence Crawford got somehow stripped. If he got stripped and then the WBO belt came available, they would go for it in a millisecond. And that fight would be done in 2 or 3 weeks. Kurt, did you know Ennis sent petition to the IBF requesting they order Spence to fight Ennis, but he is still the IBF mandatory? No, I didn't. Renee, I didn't, man, but does it surprise me? No. It doesn't. It does not surprise me. You know, but back to Terence Crawford, wrapping it up with him. Terence Crawford is a guy that has the mindset of Roy Jones Jr. He wants to move up, challenge to see what else is out there. See, that's his goals. He's not a guy that wants to sit, and that tells you that Terence Crawford is not that fucking guy that's lazy and complacent to sit around and hope and wish and wait on a payday. Or that big one. He's not that type of dude. By him taking that fight with David Alanesian, he lets you know that I'm not waiting for this big fight. Like all these fucking guys are just sitting there in line waiting for that big show or that big fight. Meanwhile, they fight a bunch of nobodies and they beat up on them and they get these mediocre ass checks. And they get those mediocre ass checks just to keep them quiet. Just to shut them up. Whereas Terence Crawford's coming to motherfuckers like Thanos. Adrian Broner wants an exhibition fight against Floyd Mayweather. I would say I would want one too. Who would want to fight against Floyd Mayweather and get $8 million or some shit like that? He needs the money. But yeah, he wants to stay active. I mean, he needs this fight. Everybody should know that. Everybody should know Bud picked this fight because he needed that fight and he got tired of getting jerked around. When the moment he got that fucking contract, that shit said next year on it, he knew, oh no, fuck them. Fuck them. You went from this year to another year? To the next year? That's what Errol Spence should have said. He said, I'm fighting Terence Crawford next. Yeah. Yeah, he forgot year. That's what he forgot. Nicholas coming in with that $2. The mega fight is now no longer a mega fight. Too long. Well, yeah, it's not a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather. I don't think it ever supposed to be, but you guys know why it's not going to be in my book. They're hoarding their money. Spence playing, hoping Bud gets too old. The fight's not going to happen. Well, see, the older it is, it's checkmate. See, the older it is, and then that was just Al Heyman's way of letting Terence Crawford know that this fight ain't fucking happening this year. You're going to have to wait if you still want it. And I know you still want it. You got to come get it because I'm not going to come over there and give it to you. Yeah, he's 35. He wanted that shit to happen a certain amount of time. He wanted it to happen. He wanted that fight to happen when he tells it or makes it. And he wasn't ready to make it. That's all. He wasn't ready to make that fight. He wasn't ready for Errol Spence to take that risk because he needs Errol Spence. He doesn't have anybody else. I was saying, but Bud ain't going to get old. He going to smoke Spence. King Mike Hall, I hope, this is what I want. I want Bud Crawford to have the longevity like Floyd had. Because, see, understand, Floyd was so fucking good that Floyd can beat guys up like 23-year-old Canelo Alvarez and take his ass to school. He was so great that he could still do that at 36 years of age. See, don't get it twisted. Floyd was very talented, but the only reason he fought Canelo was because the fucking money was there. He had a country behind him. But do you think Floyd knew that by himself? No, because Al Heyman advised him of that. Listen, you're going to fight Canelo. That's the next Oscar De La Hoya right there. So if you fight Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya, you beat De La Hoya to become the cash cow, and then you beat the guy that is going to be the next De La Hoya. So you beat that era, then you beat the other new coming golden boy, literally. Floyd sitting there. Shit, Al, you're right. I get to fight De La Hoya and I get to fight his son. They both gonna be famous. So if I beat them, I'm gonna be famous too. Bingo, motherfucker. You know what? I'm gonna go call Ellaby. I already told him. And that is that. That is that. 36 years of age, taking on a 23-year-old kid. And he knew that Canelo was going to be great. Al Heyman knew that. He knew that. But then here's the thing. Is he lying? Who's the next? Who's the cash cow? Canelo. Canelo Alvarez is the cash cow, people. First, I would like to thank Al Heyman. Me too, the Floyd into retirement. But I'm not gonna really retire. I'm just gonna come back and just steal more money. Is that all right, y'all? Kurt, I saw your video earlier, Arum, talking to Usyk's team. Hope we get Usyk versus Fury. Ben Adam, I'm going to say this about the heavyweight division, and I'm going to shut it short. I don't want to talk about heavyweights. I'll do that next week. Listen, as long as Tyson, this Chisora fight that Tyson's doing, it's fine with me if it's an easy fight for Tyson. Because at least he will be fighting to keep himself fresh. He fights in April. He fights then and now in December. He got his 2 fights into this year. As long as that fight happens with Alexander Usyk, I'm cool with it. I'm not pissed off that he's fighting Derek Chisora. I like Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora broke it down today and told him his idea or his counterpunch on it. He's getting a payday. He's getting $2 million fucking dollars. You think he don't? Who don't want paydays? Nobody. Everybody wants a payday. But I'm done with that. If that fight happens, I'm good. All forgiven. Long live Tyson the Gypsy King. Takes on the middleweight. And that's done. But back to Floyd, Al, Terence, Errol, going out there to a tomato can. Thank you for the show. Daniel, no problem. But listen, Terence Crawford is showing too much ambition to be fighting the guys that controls the fighters that he needs to fight to become that guy. Eddie Hearn would never let Canelo fight Mayweather. I think he would have. He would be a damn fool not to, especially at that time. What are you, crazy? That was in 2013, the one. I remember that fight real well. I can see Wilder as a boss smoking a cigar behind the desk. You know, imagine Terence Crawford being the next Al Heyman. That would be some funny shit, wouldn't it? Booze Ennis. I like how you knock people out. I did the same thing when I used to fight, as you see me. But you ain't nothing without your word. You ain't nothing without your word. When Al Heyman died, I took over. Because Floyd, we voted him out. He on his own island. We made him an island with a strip club. I'll run this. You want to be the next Errol Spence. You want to be the next Floyd. If you want to be the next Floyd, you get your ass out of here. I don't want the next Floyd. I want the next bronze bomber. To this day. Ain't that right, Telly? Curtis Spence, the same fighter since the crash, in your opinion? I think he's better. I think he's more defensive. I think the crash made him a better fighter because Errol Spence was getting hit too much before the crash. We learned in the Danny Garcia fight that he's able to use more defense. He's thinking more because he's worried about getting hit with shots that normally I don't think that he's impervious to. I think he's more worried about, hey, I don't want to get in a situation where I do get hit with a good shot when I can just block the shot or avoid the shot. Based on Duds Crawford's career, if he becomes the next Al Heyman, it would be like Al Heyman fighters were in HBO fighting bums for easy money, just like Duds' career. I don't see Crawford's career that like as a dud at all. He made more money. He fought who he could, you know. You look at, who else did Errol Spence fight other than okay, when you look at Errol Spence's career and hit the people that he fought, Terence Crawford, what are the big wins? You know, who didn't Terence fought that Errol Spence did? Your Dennis Ugas, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia. Who else? Who else was there? Did I miss the video on Wilder music video? That was a classic. Thank God. His wife is fine as fuck. Michael Manning. Yeah, she is. Now, I really didn't look at her until I just looked at her. I was like, damn. Yeah, she's I think that's the best decision. But I think someone like Wilder, though, he's he's a lucky man. I'll say that much. But I think he's loyal. I don't look at Deontay in that regard as a hypocrite. I think he's loyal. Now, what would raise my eyebrows? They caught him. She caught him with a bunch of chicks or something one day. I don't think that's Wilder at all. I think he's more family grounded. A lot of people, you don't know what they do in their personal life. They're not out like Charlie Sheen or like a Hollywood actor or superstar trying to bang everybody. You catch them stumbling out of a Hollywood nightclub or something. That ain't Wilder. That's not his MO. Wilder with Hellenius Chisora. Kurt, can you give a shout out to my future wife, Queen Lady Shan, bro? Queen Lady Shan, counterpunch to you. And congratulations to Ben Adams to be true. The two become one and done. That may be done dim season. Bars. You can't say Lamont Peterson for L and then diss Evanesian. That's true, Michael. So I'm just trying to figure out what Spence has done to make his career or his resume better than Bud's. Can anybody tell me? I mean, I'm open for it. Like, let's discuss it for a second. Evanesian is not in Lamont's league. You mean Lamont, Chris Algieri? Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. It's Chris Algieri. He's the missing link that separates the fucking resumes. He trumps it. The people Spence fought and when he fought them. Okay? Who? I mean, you're not... Give me specifics. That's what I'm asking for. Scance Ranch. You're my guy. Give me specifics. We go toe-to-toe all the time. So let's go toe-to-toe. Who has he fought? Lots of big names, noticeable names. Yeah. See, that's what you do when you don't come up with somebody like that's you know what I mean? You start talking about, man, it's lots of people. Give me a name. A lot of people, motherfucker. Noticeable names. Give me the names. I'm like Mike Tyson, give me the names, man, the names. Show me the names, Scance man. Show me the fucking name. Fought Brooke Porter when they weren't past it. Okay, let's see. Brooke. Was Brooke really past it? Let me ask you this. Was Brooke undefeated when he fought Spence? Oh, Danny Garcia. Okay. I mean, is it fair to say fucking Danny was past it? When Errol fought him? I mean, by that time, Danny has lost to Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. Who else did he fight? Well, those are his 2 losses, his 3rd loss. Brooke was weight drained when he fought Errol. I mean, but most importantly, weight drained or not, he was already beaten, and then he was injured. That motherfucker came back from an eye fracture and fought Errol Spence. Errol Spence, and then he still had a good account of himself. He just didn't beat him down until later. The Errol, stepped on the gas and started stomping him in the ass. Bars. I had to pump up the brakes on him. I had to hit the gas on his ass. So, he tried to show me a chocolate brownie. I said, what the hell is a chocolate brownie? He started raising his fingers. He started holding his hands up. I say, shit, I got some fucking chocolate coals for your ass right here, and I'm gonna take your ass out. And that's what he did. He did that in the UK. But I mean, Sean Porter. So, and this is what we get though. When Sean Porter fights Terence Crawford, oh, he's over the hill. He's over the hill. Like Sean Porter looked fucked up, like he looked old. Sean Porter looked the same fucking way that he looked in all the other fights and all the other times. Win, lose, or draw. Sean Porter was coming for you. That's what he does. He didn't seem slow or missed a step. Y'all motherfuckers acted like he looked like Alexander Povetkin in the rematch with Dillian White. You guys act like he was just a shell of himself or something. But that's what you get. They fought the same fucking people. Bud is half a Hall of Famer. Spence is not. Porter was game. Yeah, he was game. As a matter of fact, Terence Crawford's corner said that Sean Porter was up. I'm not even really sure if he was up by the 10th round. But when Terence Crawford heard that, it was shit. Now I got to put him down. Bars. You should do voiceovers, bro. They're amazing and on point. Appreciate you, man. I started in voiceovers back in 2009. But I mean, yeah, you get that. Well, Sean Porter and Kell Brook. Okay. Yeah, he fought Kell Brook a long time before. He fought Sean Porter, I think, 19? Fought him in 19? They fought the same people, but Spence fought them closer to their primes. Well, it's hard to really argue with opponents except for the same ones. You know, they both stopped both. You know, and then that's not even really fair to say that about that reasoning, because the reasoning you're trying to convey is, oh, well, Terence didn't fight him or couldn't fight him or whatever, chose not to fight him. No, when by the time Errol Spence beat Kell Brook, where the fuck was Terence Crawford? Terence Crawford was at 140. Now, in fact, he was at 140 when Errol Spence beat Sean Porter and Kell Brook. So, you know, he wasn't even there. And then he retired Porter. But people will argue, well, he was ready to retire anyway. No, his father, Kenny, told me that, people. Kenny told me that out of his mouth. 140 fighting scrubs. Okay, so let me ask you this, Scance Rants. At 140, who could he have fought that would have not been a scrub, not been a champ? Who was that? See, it's just funny, like these fighters become scrubs when Terence Crawford beats them. Oh, no, Sean Porter, Kell Brook can't be because Errol already beat him. So if you call them scrubs, you got to call Errol Spence beating them guys, beating scrubs. But now you're saying, oh, well, no, well, they were in their prime then, you see. They were on the prime. But, like, fuck, he stopped them. You know, like, I don't buy that shit about, just for heavyweights for a second, like Tyson Fury. He outboxed the 39-year-old Klitschko, but then AJ knocked him out. But the first thing people say is, oh, he was on his way out anyway. Well, damn, that ain't what I saw. I didn't see AJ fucking punish fucking Vladimir. I seen a well-balanced fucking fight, didn't I? Nobody, but it doesn't change the fact that 140 undisputed, the weakest division. Okay, now it's the weakest unification. See, now it's the whole fucking division. Okay, so that's the problem. See, now it's the division, but now it's like he's just laying people. And then I ask you, well, who could he have fought? No, it's the whole division. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's like, all right, well, if we look at Errol Spence, we look at what he's done. Yes, at the time frame, he fought Sean Porter first. Yes, he did. Then he fought Errol Spence. Then he fought Sean Porter. You know, and both of those guys, though, based on the performances that they had, both of those lost fighters that they had with both of the guys that beat them, they did well. They did very good. Kell Brook looked very good against Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford timed him and nailed him. You know, you're talking like, I mean, I get you're an Errol Spence fan and all, but the argument is weak because I'm asking you, who did he fight? And your response is, well, he fought him in their primes. I'm like, well, that doesn't make his resume better than if he gets stomped out and he gets stopped, which shit won't happen. But if he fights Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford and he does have the longevity to still have his skills, you know, past the age of 35, we'll see a fight like that. We'll see Terence Crawford stop another fucking guy. That'll probably be his 15th win. You know, and good thing that what we're looking at Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Errol Spence talking about moving up. You know, well, nobody beat Broner. You know, Broner wasn't in any of those guys' crosshairs. So there you go. There we go. Look at Scance Rants, guys. Check this out. Klitschko was 41 years old coming off a loss to Fury where he looked old and shot and couldn't throw a punch, and an 18-month layoff without a tune-up. Fury fought a 10-year undefeated Vlad. Big difference. See, here's you go. Did he beat the shit out of Vlad? No, he just outboxed him. He outboxed him with the style that we were familiar with Tyson Fury having. That's what he did. Like you said, 18 months. Oh, okay. So 18 fucking months, a year and a half, people. For those that don't know, a year and a half goes by. He fights Anthony Joshua, and he looks damn good. But then yet Joshua doesn't get any credit. So that but fuck, 39, you acting like that shit's like a, you know, I can understand he was 35. And then AJ fights him years later at 39 or 41. That would be different. And I could see what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, that was a long period apart. It was the very next fight. And Klitschko himself said that I needed the layoff. Do you guys understand Klitschko was doing that shit for a very long time? He had been undefeated for a very long time, like 10 years, like 10-year reign. The motherfucker was tired. So he took a break, then he took on AJ, and he got retired. Bars. Broner got bricks for sale. Straight ducats. Who was happy with the way the Porter way ended? I wasn't. But then again, his father knew best. His father knew that Sean Porter was done. Sean Porter was just a proud guy. Sean didn't want to go out like that. Vlad looked good against Juice because Juice isn't as good as Fury. Well, is it safe to say, though, maybe, just maybe, Scance Rants, they're just two different styles? And I'm going to say this about those guys, all right? I'm going to hold that. I'm going to do a live tomorrow. We're going to talk about heavyweights tomorrow. Fuck that. If Bud beats Spence, they will say the accident made Spence not his best. Yeah, they're going to use that. They're going to use that. I can see Blue. It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Terence Crawford stops Errol Spence in round 9 from a dynamic display of hearts, blood, guts, and glory, okay? And we've seen Terence Crawford systematically land shots that affected Errol Spence. And in the 9th round, he finally went down and he gets up, he makes the count, and then he gets caught with the same punch, okay? And he couldn't continue. He falls to his knees again, and the referee calls a halt to the fight at 1 minute and 37 seconds into the 9th round, holding Terence Crawford to be the undisputed, yet again, the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And my take on the whole fight, I feel that first off, that Errol Spence, I feel that the wreck haunted him. I feel that because of the damage that he took, the cerebral damage that he took, he could no longer take the shots from the awkward, switch hitting superstar boxer Terence Crawford. And I feel that if he wouldn't have gotten that wreck at that time, he would have been able to withstand the punishment that Terence Crawford was putting upon him the night that they eventually fought. Okay? And listen, that would be that, just for an example. That would be the narrative. Because, like, that would be, I mean, what else could you say? He wasn't better. You can't just say, you know, here's the other narrative. It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Terence Crawford deemed to be the number one pound for pound best fighter in the world by displaying his switch hitting ability against Errol Spence that seemed to be a couple steps behind Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford showed him exactly what a counterpuncher was because each time Errol Spence went to the body, Terence Bud Crawford would catch and shoot and counter and make damage upon Errol Spence. Errol Spence seemed to take the shots, but it deemed not to work like it did time and time again. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Kell Brook, okay, these guys were different than this guy that obviously is on another level. Yeah, you forgot to mention their records. I know, right? You got Terence Crawford now, 39 wins, 29 by knockout, switch hitter, 35 years of age, 72-inch arm length, versus Errol Spence, 5'10", weighing in with 71.5-inch arm length to the wrist, to the pit of the chest, and the current unified former welterweight champion, superstar boxer, Errol Spence. Terence Crawford surprised everybody at the ripe age of 36 years of age, still was able to outmaneuver the young, fiery, former superstar, unified heavyweight, welterweight championship boxer, Errol the True Spence, in a mega showdown that lasted 8 or 9 rounds, okay? 3 belt holder, but not bolder, Errol the True Spence. Balls. Take a hell of a lot of money to memorize all those stats. Shout out to my man Blue. Man, shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. Back at y'all with another one. Yeah, he does know that. It's impressive, though, because he does that on the fly, and it just lets you know that he has to either, he does a lot of study and he does his homework. So shout out to him. You know, yeah, he has to, those stats and facts are very impressive. Because when you hear it, you know what it is, you know the record, you know. So, you know, I if I can, you know, I will impersonate anyone, basically. Not mock, impersonate. There's a difference. Because mocking is something, but impersonations are more like the true essence of what somebody would say. But Terence Crawford, if the silver lining for him is the hope that he's still as good as sharp as he is, coming closer to 36 than he is just turning 35. And we'll see how he looks this year to make a determination on what we can expect in a fight with someone like Errol the True Spence. That's if the fight happens. But if there's no money for the fight, if the fight's not up to him to make, it's kind of hard to put faith into these guys fighting, especially when the powers that be are not allowing this fight to happen based off the fact that they don't have, or they claim they don't have the money to support these welterweight champions. That's what we're looking at. That's something I wanted to get off my chest. I appreciate you guys being here for 2 hours. You know, I'm trying to do more later streams as well. I want to do one in the morning or the afternoon, then one later at night, you know, because a lot of people miss my lives. And I'm thankful for everybody coming on this Sunday. God bless you all. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday night, or wherever you guys are in the world. Be safe. And everybody on the chat has been counterpunched. Peace.